Hi, so today I'm going to be sharing some experiences with you, specifically a story that I would like to tell you today. So, around 2 years back, I had taken up a spiritual journey to the Himalayas. So, it as exciting as it sounds, Himalayas. I broadly knew about how I'm going to travel, but I did not have a very concrete plan with me. So I thought that it has to be first of all a very spiritual journey. That was a goal. And then I would like to explore things. I like to take things. I like to witness all of these cities that are there, not cities but small quaint towns that are there on the route to Kedarnath. So the plan was to visit Haridwar, Rishikesh, and go up towards Kedarnath. So, what I like to travel about, what I like about these kind of journeys is, you are on your own. There is no plan, so there is a lot of creativity. Plus, there is uncertainty on what is going to happen, how things are going to shape up. Plus, you take a lot of risk, and these risks only affect you. They don't affect anyone else because there is no one else with you. And probably there are some risks also because if something goes wrong, by the time your near and dear ones find out, it is going to be quite late. However, you also enjoy the risk. I also like the impromptu-ness, and when you are traveling alone, you tend to make a lot more friends than when you are traveling with your family or with a group. So in these journeys, I think there is a way in which you connect with yourself, and I think so. One such journey I had taken, like I was telling you, and uh, so I went to Haridwar, I went to Rishikesh. I did not plan to really do river rafting, but I made a friend on my journey, and he was going to Rishikesh for river rafting. So he asked me, why don't you also join me for the river rafting? And then we decided that let's do it. And then in the middle of the river, while we were on the raft, the the instructor tells us that if you want to jump in the river, you can jump. So I had a life jacket on me. I jumped in the Ganges River, and that guy, I think, was pretty cool, or if you can even call us. He was not even paying attention to to all of us. He was probably paying attention to a few of us. So I was wandering from one point of the Ganga to the other shore of Ganga. I crossed Ganga by just swimming from one point to the other, and I could experience all that. Now I think it was a bit risky. However, luckily nothing happened, and yeah, and it's become a fantastic memory for me. So you know. Then just traveling, when I went to that area, I think it was just the end of the summer holidays, and there was this huge rush. So a lot of vehicles were there, and it was taking hours to move anywhere out of Rishikesh. So I wanted to travel to Dev Prayag. I wanted to spend the night to Dev Prayag, but so I took a bus basically. I took a city bus because after reaching there, I found out all the transportation that I could hire were already not available. And the only thing that I could book was just hop a ride into the city bus that travels between all of these cities back to Rishikesh and Haridwar. So there was no bus for Devrayag, but there was a bus for Srinagar. So it is en route to Devrayag. So I took that bus. That bus may, as soon as the bus comes, you just have to jump onto it. If you are lucky, you will get a seat. Otherwise, you just have to stand your way. And you won't believe, just getting out of Haridwar took us around 3 hours. So once and the bus reached Srinagar at around, I think, 9 or 10 p.m. in the night. It was very dark. Another good thing about traveling alone is that when you are alone, you are not afraid because you are just yourself. You are not carrying much valuable things. And probably because if you are strong enough, you know that nothing very bad can happen, and if something happens, probably to an extent you can take care of it. So I found a hotel, not a very expensive hotel. It was a decent hotel, but I found it. I took a round of the town in the night, had some dinner, had some nice aloo parathas. Aloo of the mountains is thought to be sweeter than the aloo in the plains. So I have heard that, and I went for aloo paratha. I think food was good. Then I took breakfast next morning, and then I found from Srinagar to Rudraprayag there were these jeeps that were going. So I took a jeep basically. So to summarize, the journey had a lot of elements of how you want to how you can come up with new plans, how you can change different ways of transportation while trying to reach Gaurikund, which is the base camp for Kedarnath. I have taken different kind of transportations. I have traveled by city bus, I have traveled by these jeeps that are there, then I have taken a ride onto these kind of standing on the steps of a jeep and then traveling for a shorter distance. So like this various different modes of transportation, and I was able to reach Gaurikund, and then I started my journey towards Kedarnath. And this is where I come to my main story. My main story is when I was traveling to Kedarnath. So lot of interesting things happened at Gaurikund also, which I will cover up at a different point in time. But so when I was traveling to Kedarnath, I think we left quite early in the morning. We left at around 7 o'clock in the morning. I think maybe 6 or 7. We left in the morning. My target was to be able to reach Kedarnath and then come back by evening, so that I don't have to stay anywhere in the way. I can come back and then probably look at Gaurikund as a staying option on my way back. So while going up, I was quite in a hurry. But then you do need to take a rest, and then after traveling for maybe around 2-3 hours, I took a rest on a bench. And interestingly, there was a sadhu sitting there, and he was also taking some rest. So I looked at him. I had around 4 layers of clothing. He did not have so many layers. I think probably he was just wearing a shirt. And I had a backpack in which I was carrying my essentials and extra pullover in case something gets wet. I also had some towel in case I want to take a bath or whatever. So I had all these things, and that sadhu probably had a very small joli that he was carrying on his thing. So he was just traveling as if he did not care. He just was happy with what he had. So I was quite interested by his take on things. So I asked him, कि बाबा आप कहाँ से हो? So he said कि initially he looked at me and he thought that whether he wanted to start that communication or not. And then I think he got generous and he replied back. He said that I am from Mathura. So then I asked him, okay, Mathura is a very well-known place for Lord Krishna. So we have not seen much of Mathura. I have not seen much of Mathura. So how is it? Is Lord Krishna still there? How are things in Mathura? Is Mathura really what we have heard of? So, he replied that, all that was true and there was a time for it. एक समय था और वो समय अलग था. अब ये समय अलग है. This is not that time now. The times have changed. So that's all he answered. And then so I asked him, what are you doing here? So he said, just I'm going to Baba. I go here every year. That's what he answered. So I asked him, what is your motivation? I'm going there because, I want to wish for something. I want to, probably have that kind of, feeling that I have gone to Kedarnath and now the God is with me. What is your motivation of coming here every year? Do you also have such wish? Or what is your reason of, making this arduous journey? Because this is not a simple journey. He said that, I just keep on visiting these places, and there are lists of things I do in the year. This is one of the things that I do every year, and it is aligned to how I want to spend my life. He really elaborate on his feelings. So then I asked him that, how do you carry money with you? Do you have everything that you need? Are your things planned out for your, even next 1 month? Are your finances planned out? How do you, really take up such a journey? Because just, it might happen that you are, on your way and you have no money left and you can just starve. So how do you take care of those situations? How do you take care of ensuring your tomorrow? So he actually, I remember, he got quite amused by this. So he said that, I don't think I can plan for tomorrow. And he said that I've been spending my life like this. I live for today. I do whatever I think today, and somehow my Lord takes care of tomorrow for me. He even takes care of today for me. I've never gone, hungry for one a time. Also, might be there might have been some times, but then overall, I feel that I have always been washed over, and I have always lived my life with this. Just this Jolly is what all that belongs to me in this world. There is nothing else that belongs to me in this world. It is all that I have. So I told him that, I have a life where I can go back to my home. I've got, my people who love me, people who will take care of me if there is something that goes wrong. I have some bank balance also. So things are more set from my point of view than your point of view. So does that make me happier than you? So he said, it depends upon you. If you think you are happier, you are happier. But he said that for me, happiness is that I have nothing with me. I just have myself with me. I don't own anything. I don't worry about anything else. I just focus upon myself. I don't have to worry about my investments at five different places. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about, paying property taxes, paying, society charges, whether things have gone, whether interest has been charged, whether someone is overcharging me or not. He said, my focus is only on my life, my growth. And that is what I like. That is what I enjoy. So, it was very profound for me. So I thought I needed more time to absorb whatever he was telling me. And I think even he wanted to move on. So while he was just trying to, pack up and move, I just offered him, a very, very small amount of 50 rupees. I said, Baba, why don't you keep this from my side? So he looked at me and he had a question on his face. So I said, this is my contribution towards your journey. So he just smiled and he kept it with him. And then I think I went my way, and then I reached Kedarnath. I did not see him again. I don't know. I thought I would meet him, but I did not see him. Uh, I stood in line for a couple of hours. It rained there. I still got to do the darshan, ate food in langar, came back, but this memory is still with me that he only has himself to focus upon and no one else. So I sometimes feel, is this the way of future? Is this how we are going to be? Is this how the future is going to unfold? Wherein we are going to be all individuals. We are going to be related to each other through a network, but we are not going to be related the way we are related today. And probably the future is in the what typically they say is the gig economy. You hire what you want, what you need right now, and you don't own anything. Whatever you need is made available to you. You use it, you don't have to worry about it. All you have to worry about it is yourself. So, with that thought, I would like to end this session, and I hope you enjoyed this story. Thank you.